Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. In this video, we're going to be finishing out our Don't Be Afraid of Color series, and we're going to go ahead and add the final touches to the foreground bushes and the grass and the ground. If you want to follow along with traditional materials, check out part 1 in this series, where I have a list of all the paint and canvases and all the materials that I use for my acrylic paintings. We're using the app Infinite Painter for Android, and here I wanted to go ahead and add a little bit of some of the shadow color to the foreground. You want to go ahead and put a little bit of some grass, the shadow that will be the purple grass, and it'll be the shadow for the grass. So I'm using a purple color and a bristly brush, the bristle brush, to add the look of clumps of grass. So I've used dioxazine purple, if you're following along with your acrylics, and yellow acrylic with white acrylic gesso. And just go ahead and add little clumps underneath the greasewood bushes, because this is where a lot of the clumps of grass grow. They'll grow right next to the bushes and underneath them and kind of in and around them. And so you want to go ahead and add those over the top of the shadows. Add the sort of yellow mixture over the top of shadows, and then you can take some purple and put it underneath the greasewood bushes and the grass there, and that just gives it a shadow, and smudge it out. And you can use purple or blue for the shadow. But like I said, don't use black, because that'll flatten everything out and it'll look like a grease spot or something. It won't look correct. The shadows have depth. You can see in the shadows. They're transparent. And so just go ahead and smudge those shadows out. And this is high noon in this picture that I took, actually. So the shadows are kind of directly, the sun's directly overhead, so the shadows are kind of directly underneath the bushes and the grass there. And so I want to go ahead and just kind of add a little bit of purple, again, a little bit of some oranges, those to the middle ground hills. And then I wanted to go ahead and go back over the background hills just a little bit to smudge down some of the highlights there. And so I'm using the cloudy brush to also, the cloudy brush in Infinite Painter, the clouds, to make the clouds look a little bit wispier and a little bit more spread out. And again, as I mentioned in part 1, you want the clouds to be an off-white color. So you would get kind of put a touch of cadmium orange light. And so here I'm signing with kind of a color that won't distract from everything. And I decided just to sign with the same brown color that I've done the branches and the greasewood. And then, of course, that doesn't mean that I'm finished just because I signed it. So I'm going back and going over it again. Just a little bit, adding a little bit of some color around, and adding a little bit of some yellow in the middle hills, just kind of working on the shape of them just a little bit. Just wanted to tweak the shape of them just a little bit in the background there. And just wanted to sort of work a little bit more on some of the branches of the greasewood trees, just a little bit, add some shadows, and just kind of looking at it and seeing what it needs to add a little bit more color and a little bit more depth. So this is the end of my Don't Be Afraid of Color series, and what we've learned in this, or what I have tried to convey anyway, is that you need to bring out the colors that are naturally in the landscape but may not appear in your photograph exactly, or even to the naked eye at certain times in the daytime. So you want to just go ahead and bring those colors out that are in there. I don't know how to explain it, but they're in the colors are there. They're made up into the landscape there. So you just need to bring them out, and maybe slightly, I guess you would call it, maybe slightly exaggerating the colors, but you just kind of want to bring it out and slightly exaggerate it. You don't want to oversaturate it, or make it look really, really psychedelic, unless that's the look that you're going for. But if you're trying to go for a natural landscape and you don't want your picture to look flattened, you bring these colors out and you give them a little bit of, it gives it more depth to your painting, and it catches the viewer's eye, and it's more pleasing than just maybe say a drab looking brown color. The eye wants to see colors, and so it just makes your painting more pleasing to the eye. Anyway, I just wanted to mention this point. I thought that it's an important point that landscape painters might need to look into, and really any other kind of painting as well. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I'll catch you later.